No, yes, it is about the shoujo. No, it is not about the bankruptcy. I think that is too new for Legal Mindset to have done a video on. But Legal Mindset did do a video. Legal Mindset did do a fast facts on Gunrun actually confessing to a crime in his public address to the world. And yes, thank you, Gore. Draco, no, I did not hear that they gave money to charity. Everything that I've been seeing so far was that they did not give the money to charity, and that Gunrun was claiming she did not realize that the money was earmarked for charity, which is oh my goodness, which is a bald-faced lie. So, we're going to check out this is Legal Mindset's Fast Facts from about 17 hours ago, where he's talking about Gunrun's letter that he posted to Twitter. And he's going to go over it and basically get into the nitty-gritty. Revan, I didn't even see the joke. I thought. What was the joke? I didn't even see it. What? Let's take a look. And, oh, the charity joke. What? No, Revan, you're absolutely right. I missed the charity joke. Completely missed it. I completely missed it. Yes. Sorry. Anyway, let's take a look at this. Oh, stripper named Charity. Oh. Okay. Yeah, yes, I missed it. I missed it. Yes, I did it. I did indeed miss it. Okay, I'm bouncing back and forth between two chats. I'm so sorry. I missed that. Hi, Ori. Everybody give Ori head pats and love. Head pats and love for Ori. All right, chat, let's jump into this and let's see what the reason why I want to see this one is because I want to hear a lawyer's take on what happened with, you know, with what he may have confessed to or what he could be setting himself up for with this letter that Gunrun put out. And Jack and Lurking Llama, thank you for the gifted and the tier 1s. So, let's go.
Shoujo has just confessed to a crime, specifically fraud related to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, Iron Mouse's charity that she has been championing for a very, very long time. And we have a statement from the CEO, which just blatantly confesses to it and shows not just that fraud, but also wild mismanagement of company funds for
which, and yes, I'm pausing very early on in. I will guarantee you anything, Gunrun did not talk to his attorney before releasing that statement. Everything that was in that statement smacks of someone who just worked off of pure desperation and did not consult with an attorney first before publicly posting that for the fucking world to see. Well, Atanashi, he'd still have an attorney on retainer that he could have used. He would have still had an attorney on retainer. They could have basically said, is this okay to post? Clearly, he didn't run it through any, not even an attorney. He didn't even run it through a friend and say, hey, do you think I should play? Well, he could have handed it off to a friend, if he fucking has any, and said, hey, do you think this would be good? And even a friend would say, dude, Spack, what are you doing?
for a significant period of time. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire. This is a Legal Mindset where we teach you to be your own judge. And this is a Fast Facts premiere giving you the short, quick summary version of what's going on today. Now, they are in, the shoujo is in massive hot water. And I told you guys days ago that this was going to lead to insolvency. This was going to lead
Hey, really, Tornado? I wonder if, okay. All right, guys, I have request. I'm guessing you guys have a lot of information. Let's let Andrew present it because I have not, as with all my reacts, I have not seen this. So I want to see what information Andrew has to present, and if something Andrew doesn't present, it is around when the video is concluding, then then you guys can let me know. But let's let Andrew present. Let's have Andrew present first and see what information he has to partake with us.
Lead down the road to bankruptcy, and we have today a confirmation, and I was entirely right. They are going to go absolutely bank, right?
Yep,
It's
he
done.
did call this
They're
in his
the
live
red.
stream.
They've got mass amounts of debt. They're not profitable. They weren't profitable even with everybody there. There's no way to get back to profitability. They are done. And this has more severe consequences than just losing your Twitch emojis, which happened today on Twitch. The Gunrun global emote is gone. But they have a lot bigger problems than losing cute emotes. So we're going to look at the statement by the Gunrun and why this statement is absolutely insane, why it's a confession, and also why it doesn't get anybody out of personal liability, why they're still going to be held liable regardless of this statement. This statement doesn't move the yard line, doesn't shift anything really that far because this statement is only a confession and does not remove any liability of him as CEO or even personal liability, which is very, very clear in this when you look at the factual situation. So let's read through the statement very, very carefully, and then I'm going to analyze it after we go through it. So here's a statement from VShojo. This is on their X account, so you can go over and read that yourself. And this is obviously unedited, etc. So I'm going to read this. VShojo has failed, and I've mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing.
So right there, that is a confession that he is taking responsibility for the failure of the company and its insolvency, which is not going to look good on him when he goes into bankruptcy court. For what? It's also not going to look good when he confesses later on to basically fraud and possibly embezzlement from the company of stealing charity funds and private contractors, i.e. the VTubers, revenue to try and keep the company afloat. So he's basically saying, yes, please charge me. That's what this is. This was basically him saying, yes, please charge me. I confess.
So today I am sharing the difficult news that VShojo is shutting down. And I take full responsibility for the decisions that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise. Now, I'm going to pause there with fundraise. When he says fundraise, a lot of people may think that's a bake sale or this is some sort of selling cookies or whatever else. No, this is begging for money. He's talking about loans. So fundraising, he is talking about loans. He's talking about trying to borrow to keep the company going. Let's be very clear about that.
Right.
So, and right the ship these past few months. I'm going to stop there as well. Months? No. This thing has been having a problem for over.
No, this has been over a year. Leave us not forget, Kason said that she has not been paid since September of 2024. Almost 1 year ago, Kason's revenue has been withheld from her. And that is just one streamer for VShojo. All of them are coming out now and saying that they have had funds withheld from them. And God only knows how far it stretches back. But every single streamer from VShojo, now that the NDA is poofed, they're all coming out and saying, yeah, VShojo hasn't paid me for months or possibly even years. So the past few months is disingenuous at best. At best, it's disingenuous. At worst, it's a flat-out fucking lie. And he's gonna get slapped with it when the lawsuit's coming. So I got a feeling this button's gonna get a lot of work today.
It was at this moment that he knew. he fucked up.
Over a year. This is a thing that is, they've been in financial hot waters for a very long time. This is not something that happened yesterday. It's not something that happened last month. This has been going on for a significant period of time. But despite my efforts, we're in a worse position. And those I care about now are paying the price. Over the past few years, we raised...
Okay. Spot the lie. Those I care about. Motherfucker, you don't care about anybody but yourself. Do not even try to pretend you care about anybody in that company beyond the person you see in the mirror when you wake up every day. Bull fucking shit. You were in this for yourself. Full stop. End of discussion right there.
Around $11 million to pursue a bold talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and community over short-term profits to achieve long-term sustainability. I can't even imagine how he wrote that with a straight face, given what's happening right now. I cannot believe he sat out and wrote that. Oh, this is what we wanted to do. This is what we're doing. No, you completely and utterly failed on that consistently over the long term. Over the long term, you abused and gaslit your talent over the long term into non-sustainability. You spent your money on wild...
Not even gaslit. Gaslit is being kind, honestly. He fucking berated the talent for shit that was not even their fault. I will remind you that when Silvervale got harassed to an ungodly level about Hogwarts Legacy, he actually browbeat her, saying that she was a disappointment to the company and that she was making it harder on all the other talent because people attacked her just because she wanted to play a game. So gaslighting is kind. That is the kindest verbiage that Andrew could have used in this circumstance. Because it went way beyond gaslighting. I'm pretty sure, was it Kenya that I cannot remember. Yeah, I know Silverio was actually brought to tears on stream. I've heard about that. There was I cannot recall if this is Kenya or not. I could be mistaken about this. No, it's not Pikami that I'm thinking about. I think it may have been Kenya where Gunrun actually went after her. Actually treated her like shit. Because she said, now that the NDA is gone, I can freely say I was treated like absolute shit by V Shoujo. I don't think it was Pikami. For some reason, Henya's name was it VB? It could have been VB. Although I'm gonna wager that over the next couple days, all of the talent at V Shoujo is going to be coming out and saying that the company and Gunrun treated them like shit. We are going to be hearing about all kinds of horror stories over the next few days from everyone that used to be a part of V Shoujo.
Advertising in Shibuya and everywhere else, just going out and trying to promote and advertise, spending money you didn't have to try to push these talents in places that wouldn't help them. You weren't giving them what they needed. What they needed was a paycheck, the Gunrun, not some weird station advertising.
Really Anubis.
Okay, let's continue here. Our funding went directly to creators through generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. No, that didn't actually happen. We also wanted our talent to own the IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for an agency. Now, that did happen. To credit where credit is due, the talents do own the IP. I've read
that is the one singular fucking thing out of all of this that they did right. The singular thing that V Shoujo did right is that the talents maintained their own IPs. That's it. That is the one. You get a pat on the head. You did one thing right out of everything.
The contract, that's true. However, despite all of our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain that model, and we ran out of money. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money, now here we go, here's the confession.
Here we go.
Some I acknowledge, so I am saying this happened. Some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity. So he is confessing to the fact
Yep.
that they diverted funds which were intended to pay their talents, and they're calling them talents, by the way.
Sure. To your question, didn't they already own the IPs per Vishojojo? Yes, they did. Sure, they did. There are some VTuber agencies that will require ownership of the IP in order to sign on with it. Primarily, a lot of times you see this with the Japanese VTuber agencies. They will take ownership of the IP in order to represent you and for you to be a part of the agency. Yeah, Hololive and Nijisanji to name a couple. VShojo was one that they did not require ownership of the VTuber's IP in order for them to be part of the agency. Yeah, sure. It was the bare fucking minimum good thing that they could have done.
Intended to pay their talents, and they're calling them talents, by the way, because if they call them employees, they'll be screwed under labor law. They're using the language specifically talent because they know that they're trying to frame talents, independent contractor. We're going to get out of that. So they owed money to the talents and they spent it. They misallocated it. And then he goes on to say, so some of the money spent by the company, so saying it was spent by the company, right? Misallocated. Was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned, keyword he put in later learned. The words later learned are him trying to get off the hook personally.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
This doesn't work. This is a flat out lie. Because when Mousy did her charity, he actually was talking about it in preparation for the charity to take place. When Mousy's charity was, leading up to Mousy's charity, he was actually promoting him and Vishojo were actually promoting that this was going to be a charity stream, that the money coming in from this was going to be going to charity. So him saying, I later learned it was intended for a charitable initiative is a flat fucking lie. And there will be evidence presented in court that will be overwhelmingly substantive to this fact. So he's lying about not knowing that it was for charity, which I think is going to lend itself into the wire fraud charges or embezzlement charges, because he's trying to claim that he didn't know it was for charity when he in fact did, because of his own Twitter posts. His own Twitter posts are going to be used as evidence. This whole letter right here and his Twitter posts are going to be used as evidence in a criminal trial for fraud. Wire fraud. I don't know precisely what charge could be brought against him, but all of that is only just a fraction of the evidence that is going to be used in a fraud trial against him and probably against any of the financial officers that were involved with the company. Because it's not going to be Gunrun that could be on the hook for this. I would wager that the financial officers of the shoujo are also going to be on the hook for any charges of fraud as well, because they would be involved with the money. And if they know, if they knew Gunrun was not allocating the funds properly from the charity to the charity, instead, redirecting them into the company, and they didn't report it, they could be on the hook for a charge as well as Gunrun. Like, he gave the order, so he's on the hook. But if they did nothing and they facilitated it and they knew it was wrong, they will also get on the hook for maybe not necessarily a fraud charge, but maybe they'll be perhaps maybe like an accomplice to fraud charge or something like that. So anyone in the financial offices of the shoujo could be just as fucked as Gunrun right now. And Dildo, thank you for the follow over on Kick.
He says, I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. What he's trying to do here is say, oh, I didn't have personal knowledge of where the money was going in my company. dollars come in, dollars go out. I don't know anything that's going on. I had no idea, no knowledge that this money should have gone to a charitable initiative. We just got a massive amount of money. We just got $500,000. And it just slipped through the cracks. That's like a couple pennies just falling in the couch.
Yeah.
In no world,
I've never seen someone torpedo their own career as thoroughly as Gunrun. This torpedo was a nuke in disguise.
Yeah. Oh, it was a nuclear torpedo. And Mantez, no, you are correct. Well, here's the Mantez. It could be both. Because we don't know the extent of the financial fuckery when it comes to what Gunrun and the finance officers did with VShojo. So there could be embezzlement and money laundering. Possibly, depending on what they did. Like if Gunrun used the proceeds from Mousie's charity to basically pay himself and other employees of VShojo, that would probably be embezzlement because they were financially enriching themselves. If they were fucking around with the direction the money went, then it could be, depending on how they move the money around, it could be money laundering. But again, until there's an actual criminal investigation and there's some forensic accounting done on VShojo's books, we don't know what the extent of the financial fuckery is. At this point, all we know is that they stole revenue from their VTubers, and they stole Mousie's charity money. That is what we know so far. We do not know how deep this financial rabbit hole is going to go. Were they reallocating funds from concert sales? Were they really reallocating funds from merchandise sales? We don't fucking know. And until authorities can do a forensic audit on the company, this is probably just going to be the tip of the iceberg.
World does this hold up under any sort of investigation? Even the most cursory investigation, you need to know where $500,000 goes. This is not $250. It's not $350. This is $500,000 that just poof went somewhere. And as the CEO, you certainly have the responsibility to understand the major financial operations of your company. And yes, there's other officers that are on the line here. I know I can hear Tectone in the background skipping up. It's not just the Gunrun. Yes, okay, chill, Tectone, chill, bro. We all respect you, but you got to calm down. Of course, there's other people that manage the finances. There's other officers. There's the CFO that quit. There's a management officer that quit. There's other officers that have left. We talked about the officer that left 2 months ago, and he just posted, he tagged Gunrun. He's like, bro, what's going on? No, bro. Sorry, bro. Leaving 2 months ago doesn't get you off the hook. This thing.
No. Because the criminality extends back at least a year. So even if you left like 2 months ago, too fucking bad. You were still there when the criminality happened. You're still fucked. You're gonna have, I imagine, you're gonna have a lot of VShojo employees, not the VTubers, but VShojo employees. I imagine we're gonna start hearing from them. We're gonna start getting leaks from VShojo employees about some of the shit that was going on there. My guess is we're gonna hear about harassment. I have no doubt that a number of VShojo employees are going to say that they were getting harassed from the upper echelons. And I imagine some of them are going to leak about the way that the money was fucked around with in the company. So the leaks coming out of this company are only just beginning.
Has been going on for a while, at least in terms of the people not being paid, and also in terms of the charity misallocation. This is something that was done in the past. So if you were there as an officer 2 months ago and you quit, you're not necessarily off the hook. When the investigation looks at this and they get into the emails, they get into the documents, they get into, okay, what happened here? There at some point is going to be revealed a number of people, not just the Gunrun, but definitely including the Gunrun, that were involved in taking those funds and putting them other places. There were discussions that were had. So, and even if they were had in person, someone's going to crack, someone's going to break. No one wants to go to federal prison. This is wire fraud. This is misallocation of funds. This is violation of various other state and federal laws. This is no good, right? And assuming, once again, assuming on the face that all the facts we have are true, which I have no reason to believe because they've confessed this now. They've said, no, we actually misallocated the funds. There's no further proof needed other than getting into who's liable. And if we can pierce the corporate veil, that means holding individual officers, individual employees responsible personally for these misdeeds. Yes, we need more.
That's what I'm talking about, where I was saying that the financial officers are going to be on the hook for this. It's not just Gunrun. Anyone that was in the finance department is also going to be implicated in all of this. What the extent of that will be, don't know. I don't know if they will share the same charges as Gunrun, or if they will be reduced down to accomplice charges, or if maybe any charges will be dismissed. Because I guarantee you, one or multiple officers in that financial office are going to flip on Gunrun. Like, there won't even need to be pressure. I would not be surprised if one or multiple financial officers are already reaching out to law enforcement saying, listen, I want to get ahead of this. I will tell you whatever the fuck you want to know, but give me a deal. I will guarantee you that is already happening. They've read the writing on the wall, and they're already looking to cover their ass. It's happening, without question.
Investigation as to piercing the veil as to certain people and certain individuals, etc. And I do think there's a strong possibility that that may happen. And I indeed hope that happens for some of these people trying to sink their head in the sand and say, oh, I later learned. No, bro. And let's show the proof here too. Let's show the proof here too. The Gunrun knew. He knew at the time. Here is literally the Gunrun.
Here we go.
Saying, you did it, Mouse. October.
There we go. Boom!
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Right fucking there. Congratulations. You played yourself. People's Exhibit A of, yes, he knew that money was supposed to be allocated. I know that. I'm gonna have to try and fight it. Okay, no, here we go. This one is more appropriate.
Gotcha, bitch!
1st, 2024. October 1st, 2024, saying you did it, Mouse. And really, the only thing that he needs to know is the feds will be looking at this post, right? So that's all he needs to know. Live tweeting during a fast
mindset.
Fact. But yes, no, that's all we need to know is that statement is there. We've got pictures of him with Mouse fundraising. So we see this guy out there fundraising. We know he knew at the time, afterwards, before. He knew at all points of this. He knew what was going on. He was not an ostrich with his head in the sand. He knew what was going on. Let's finish the statement here. Let's finish the statement.
Here we go.
At the time, we were working hard to raise additional capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believed, based on information available, we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. What that means is they were trying to get a loan. They used the money they didn't have, right? They misallocated the charity money, right, to try to pay current expenses because they thought they could get another loan. They were already in debt. They were already $2 million in debt, and they couldn't do it. And it says right here.
Okay. That's okay. So what legal mindset sounds like what he's saying is, with this statement, that I firmly believe based on information available, we'd be able to do so and cover all expenses. So what they were trying, so it sounds like what legal mindset is doing is the money that they were stealing from the VTubers and possibly from the charity is they were using that to try and pay down their existing debts and get those down. So when they applied for more loans, it would show that those debts were either taken care of or greatly paid down as along with their bills in order to look good to the banks that they were trying to get loans from. Yeah, that clearly that didn't work out the way he thought it did.
We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. I am deeply sorry. So, right there, that last one, too, guys, that last one is very true. I made the decision to pursue funding. What that means is he made the decision to not pay the talent.
Yep.
And to keep the ship going a little longer. So instead of paying the talent, even if that meant they would have had to close down, instead of doing what was right and just, he decided to push it down the line.
Not even doing what was right and what was just. Because in that he's referencing paying the talent of Vishojo. Not only that, taking money for charity and using it for the company instead. That kind of goes beyond doing what's right and what's just. That's literally taking funds that were allocated for a charity and embezzling them, taking them, embezzling them to spend on the company instead of sending it to the charity, which is the whole reason why people donated so much in the first place. So like we're multi-tiered at this point.
He knowingly did this, guys. He knowingly did this. This guy, and look, this is, I rarely go.
Yeah, you're right.
You are made of stupid.
I try to stay legal and objective here, but morally, this is a horrible decision. I mean, and I think this is something that's pretty non-controversial, right? If you see that you're failing, you're in debt, you're not doing well, right? You have to, at some points, be realistic, be adults. An adult has to come in the room and say, we need to cut this and we need to do what's right. We need to pay people out. And look, I'm sure if they talked to the talent and said, hey, we're not doing well, right? We're not doing well. We need to pay the employees, right? And hey, maybe everybody across the board, including employees, we're all going to take, including the CEO, we're all going to take a haircut. Everybody at the business has to take a 25% haircut across the board because we're hurting, right?
Yeah, because that's what businesses do. Like, I was affected by this in my job, not streaming, but my actual job. That's what happened to me with this year. Something similar happened. I didn't get a pay cut, but I was informed at anniversary time that the company was not doing well, and thus we would not receive our annual pay raises. That is what a company does. Is if things are going badly, you have to make cuts where you can, but you still pay your people. That's what a proper company does. And he didn't do that.
And we're all going to be in this as a team. Okay, whatever. You could have had that conversation. You could have done something. But they decided not to do that. They decided to benefit certain people at the expense of others. It's absolutely deplorable behavior and potentially criminal. Finishing up here, I am deeply sorry to all the talent, staff, friends, and community members who believe in our brand. You did not deserve this. No, and the Immune Deficiency Foundation didn't deserve this either, right? And certainly what this deserves and what this will get is criminal investigation into exactly how this went down, who made those decisions, and how that funding exactly got misallocated.
Drowner, to your point, Melody may have been advised by her lawyer not to say anything. Bear in mind, every single one of the VTubers that were in Bishojo have been talking to lawyers. Every one of them. It is entirely possible that her lawyer has recommended that even though the other VTubers have come out saying that they were owed funds, perhaps her lawyer has told her to keep mum about that for whatever reason.
So that is going to be happening, absolutely for sure. I'm going to be covering this as it gets more serious, as it gets investigated, and I will catch you on the next one.
Yeah. So about what I thought it would be, but yeah, Gunrun and everyone in the financial office is fucked. Everyone in that entire financial office is fucking done. Gunrun's probably gonna go to prison, and I imagine all of the financial officers, possibly to include the COO, are falling all over themselves trying to get a deal. I have zero doubt that's what's happening right now. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.